On Christmas Eve, my mother blocked the door and said, "There is not enough room," while my kids and I stood freezing on the porch. Months later, after I bought the house she claimed I was too broke to afford, my entire family showed up crying and begging for forgiveness. Hey Reddit, my family treated me and my kids like we were optional, so I decided we were done being anyone's backup plan. I built my own home, made my own traditions, and moved on with people who actually cared. But of course, the ones who pushed us out weren't finished causing problems. Before all that, here's where it really started. My name is Nathan Wells. I am 34 years old, work in IT, and most of my life revolves around raising my two kids, Logan and Mira. Logan is 7 years old, Mira is 5 years old, and the three of us have a steady routine. Their mom and I divorced a couple years back, and honestly, life got quieter in a good way. The only real chaos comes from my own family. My mother Diana, my father Frank, and my sister Tessa, who acts like the entire world is her personal spotlight. Last Christmas Eve, I loaded presents into the car and got the kids bundled up. Logan had been working on a handmade Christmas card for days. Mira was excited to see the twins, Landon and Caleb. My parents had told me very casually the week before that Christmas dinner is at 6. That was all I needed to hear. We showed up 5 minutes early. As soon as we stepped out, we could hear the noise. Not regular holiday chatter. This was full volume, too many people in one place noise. The kind where you can hear wrapping paper being ripped open and someone yelling over everyone else. I knew exactly who that someone was. I walked up to the door and knocked. Nothing. I knocked again, louder. Still nothing. On the third knock, I heard someone inside say, "Who keeps banging?" followed by laughter. That laugh was my sister's. Loud, dramatic, and designed to get everyone's attention. I knocked one more time, harder than before. Footsteps finally clicked toward the door, and it cracked open. My mother appeared wearing a glittery red sweater, and the kind of smile she uses when she's pretending everything is fine, while secretly annoyed. The smile dropped when she saw me. "Oh," she said. "Nathan, I did not realize you were coming." Behind her, I could see the dining room glowing with candles. The big table was full, every chair taken, including folding chairs I had seen them drag out for random guests in past years. Tessa was in the center of the living room, telling a story with both hands waving around like she was performing on stage. And then Landon said, "Santa came early for us." "Can you believe it?" she practically shouted, milking the reaction. My mother stepped forward, blocking the doorway like she was guarding something valuable. "Well, the thing is, we just do not have room this year." I kept my voice even. "Say that again." She blinked at me, like I was inconveniencing her by asking. "There is not room. We already set everything. We did not plan for extra people." Extra people. Me and my own kids. In the house I grew up in. I did not look past her again, because I did not need to. I already knew there were plenty of chairs available if they had wanted us there. They just did not. I gave a slow nod. "All right, noted. Will not forget it." She opened her mouth like she was going to backtrack, but I stepped away before she could. I walked my kids down the walkway toward the car. Logan tugged my sleeve. His voice was small. "Dad, did we do something wrong? Why did Grandma not let us in?" That was the part that hit harder than anything my mother said. I crouched down so he could see my face clearly. "No, buddy," I said. "You did nothing wrong. Sometimes grown-ups make bad choices. That is on them, not on you." He nodded, but I could see he was trying to make sense of it. Mira climbed into her car seat and asked if she could still open presents. I told her yes. Absolutely yes. On the drive home, they talked about pancakes and Christmas lights and everything kids talk about when they are trying to shift their minds to something better. I kept my eyes on the road, steady and quiet. I was not angry in the explosive way. I was angry in the steady way, the kind you do not forget. When the kids fell asleep that night, I sat in the living room with the tree lights on. That was when the whole thing settled in. The exclusion was not new. There had been little signs for years. Family gatherings we were not told about, cousins' birthdays we missed the invite for, my sister's kids being treated like royalty, while mine were treated like afterthoughts. But hearing my son ask if he had done something wrong, that was the breaking point. Nothing my parents or sister had done could top the damage of making a child feel unwanted. That night, I made a decision that was not dramatic or loud, just final. After that Christmas Eve, life went back to our normal routine. School runs, homework, dinner, bedtime, and me juggling my full-time job with freelance work once the kids were asleep. I had been doing that since the divorce, and while it was tiring, it gave me something steady to build around. Logan and Mira adjusted well. They always have. Kids are stronger than people give them credit for when they have structure. My family had always treated me differently, long before the divorce. Tessa had been the center of attention since childhood. She knew how to turn anything into a show. Her twins' birthdays, her errands, even her grocery shopping became a big public moment if she could get an audience. My parents fed into it. They saw her as the successful one, the important one, the one to brag about. I was the reliable one who would understand if they forgot to include me in something. The favoritism was not new, but once I had kids, it became impossible to miss. Diana loved playing the doting grandmother, but only when the spotlight stayed on Tessa's sons, Landon and Caleb. She never missed a chance to post photos with them, matching shirts at the pumpkin patch, rides at the zoo, hot chocolate at the winter festival. She always captioned the pictures, "Family Day," like the entire world needed to know she was the fun grandmother. Not once did she ask if Logan or Mira wanted to come. She never even called to say she was taking the boys somewhere. She just went, posted the photos, and acted as if my kids did not exist. Logan found one of those photos once while scrolling beside me. He tilted his head and asked, "Grandma went without us?" I told him she probably forgot to let us know. He nodded, accepting it because he is young, but I caught the look on his face. Confused, a little disappointed, trying to understand why he was not part of Family Day. I did not confront Diana. I did not send a message or demand an explanation. It would have changed nothing. Instead, something in me just shut off. Watching her celebrate outings with Tessa's kids while ignoring mine made it clear that I needed to start detaching for real, not just emotionally. I made a quiet decision that my kids would never grow up feeling like they had to earn a place in someone else's plans. If someone did not make room for them, we would stop knocking. So I shifted my focus 100% toward building our life. I got stricter with my schedule, woke up earlier, started doing home workouts in the mornings while the kids ate breakfast at the table nearby. Logan would sit on the counter reading facts about dinosaurs while Mira colored. It became a small part of our routine, and it helped more than I expected. After work, I picked up more freelance projects. Companies always needed someone to fix their systems, or build a tool, or guide them through a problem their own staff could not handle. I took every opportunity that did not pull time away from the kids. Some nights I sat at the kitchen table typing, while Logan built a tower of blocks next to me. Mira would draw pictures of cats and hand them to me for approval. I brushed up my skills constantly. New scripts, new software, new certifications. It did not happen overnight, but I started getting better clients. Clients who paid on time. Clients who treated me with respect. That made a difference. The more I focused on self-improvement, the easier everything got. My confidence stopped dipping every time my family did something disrespectful. I stopped thinking about what they thought of me. I stopped waiting for invitations that never came. I stopped giving them the benefit of the doubt. Instead, I focused on creating stability for the three of us. The kids had structure at home, set wake-up times, school sorted, chores that made them feel responsible, bedtime routines that helped them wind down. The more consistent our home became, the more they blossomed. Logan's grades jumped. Mira got more confident talking to other kids. They both laughed more. The behavior issues that had started creeping in after the divorce disappeared. And the more they thrived, the more obvious it became that they did not need Diana's selective attention or Tessa's spotlight to feel loved. By summer, the emotional switch was complete. I was still polite when my parents called, but the connection was gone. Conversations were short. I did not chase updates. I did not check their pages. I did not care about whatever Family Day outing they were doing without us. The distance did not feel lonely. It felt clean, clear, necessary. By late summer, I finally felt steady enough, financially and mentally, to take the next step. For years, I had wanted a real home for Logan and Mira, somewhere they could run around, decorate their own rooms, and make memories that did not involve tiptoeing around people who acted like they were an inconvenience. I had saved for a long time between my job and freelance work, and I knew exactly what I wanted. I found it on a quiet street not far from the kids' school. A large old Victorian house with a wraparound porch, tall windows, and a layout that felt like it could hold a real future. It needed work, but work did not scare me. I closed on it quietly. Once I had the keys, I brought the kids over the first weekend. The house needed repairs, real repairs. The floors were dull, the walls were duller, and the upstairs lighting switches clicked like they were from 1960-something. I spent evenings sanding floors in sections, working around the kids' bedtime. I repainted the walls room by room, choosing colors with the kids when it came to their spaces. Logan picked deep blue. Mira picked a soft purple. Weekends were spent installing shelves, replacing old outlets, and fixing lighting one room at a time. I watched tutorials, took notes, and made it work. It felt good, productive, like every improvement had a purpose. The kids helped where they could. Logan held the flashlight or sorted screws. Mira handed me paint rollers or stuck little star stickers on the walls of her new room, insisting they were good luck stars for the house. Those evenings showed the softer side of this new chapter. No chaos, no disrespect, no tension. Just the three of us working towards something we actually wanted. I had no intention of telling my family. Not out of spite, just out of self-respect. They had told me loud and clear that my kids and I did not matter in their plans. I did not see a reason to pull them into ours. But small towns talk. One afternoon, while I was tightening a cabinet hinge in the kitchen, my neighbor, Mrs. Porter, stopped by to drop off a welcome plant. She mentioned she had seen Diana at the grocery store earlier. They chatted, and without realizing, she said, "It is so nice your son got that big house on Elm Street." I knew right then that the news would spread faster than paint, drying on a humid day. By that evening, my phone lit up over and over. Missed calls, texts, voice messages. My mother, my father, and then Tessa, one after another. "Why did you not tell us? We should have been included in this decision. You are being dramatic. You did this to get attention, did you not?" I did not respond to a single message for a few hours. When I finally did, it was one simple line. "Did not ask for your permission." That set them off more. Voice messages followed. My mother insisting family should share big news. My father saying I was withholding. And Tessa hinting that I bought something above my means just to show off. Their reactions did not surprise me. What did surprise me was what I heard the next week. I was outside raking leaves when my neighbor, Mr. Downs, walked over. He has lived there for decades and somehow knows everything that happens within 5 blocks. He shook his head a little and said, "Your sister has been talking, telling folks you could not possibly afford this place. She said you must be renting it under someone else's name." I paused. "She really said that?" "Oh yes," he replied. "Said you are too broke to buy it. Said something about you exaggerating what you earn." I laughed. Not a frustrated laugh, just a plain amused one. Jealousy is loud when it is desperate. I did not respond to Tessa. I did not call my parents to correct anything. I did not explain myself. I simply ignored every message they sent that week. Their opinions had no place in this house, and their lives were too childish to waste time on. Instead, I kept working. Finished repainting the hallway, put up shelves in Mira's room for her drawings, helped Logan assemble a desk for his dinosaurs and books. Every improvement brought the house closer to feeling like ours. By the time autumn rolled in, the place was almost fully transformed. Bright walls, smooth floors, working lights, organized rooms, everything functional and warm. And as I looked around the living room one evening, the kids sitting on the rug building a tower from wooden blocks, I knew exactly what I wanted to do next. This house was going to have a Christmas worth remembering, not the kind where you stand outside someone else's door. A real Christmas, one built for my kids, in a home where they were never an afterthought. I knew exactly where to start. My family had always talked about Chef Mateo Rivera, like he was some mythical figure. Tessa bragged nonstop about the one time she managed to get a reservation at his restaurant. Diana talked about his food like tasting it made her special. So I called his place on a quiet Tuesday morning. I explained I wanted a private Christmas dinner for my family and a few friends. The assistant said his schedule was full for the holiday season. I did not argue. I simply asked her to let him know I respected his work and wanted to make something meaningful for my kids and would pay triple. She said she would pass the message along. He called back that afternoon. His voice was steady and polite. He asked a few questions. Number of guests, food preferences, setup. I answered clearly. He seemed to appreciate the straightforwardness. After a short pause, he said, "I can make it happen." He mentioned a corporate client had canceled for Christmas Day, so he could take us on with a small team. Once that was locked in, I made the guest list. Only people who showed up for us this past year. First was our neighbor, Mrs. Rao. She had brought soup when Mira had the flu and helped me carry lumber more than once. She was family in ways my real family was not. Then my co-worker Julian and his girlfriend Ivy. They had listened when things were rough and checked in often. They were steady people, the kind you can trust. My gym buddy Rylan was next. The man never asked questions he did not need answers to. He helped me move heavy furniture without complaining once. Nora, my college friend, was visiting that week with her spouse and kids. She had stayed supportive through every part of my life, even when we lived in different states. I also invited Omar and Lilia, parents of one of Logan's school friends. They had treated my kids kindly since the first day of class. Last, I added Patricia, my attorney from the divorce, and her daughter Sienna. Patricia had been a strong voice for me at a time when I was barely holding things together. We kept in touch, and she had become a genuine friend. It was a solid group of people who cared more about kindness than appearances. A few days later, while picking up hardware for a shelving project, I ran into Grant, my sister's husband. He looked uncomfortable the moment he saw me, like he was preparing for me to call him out. I did not say anything at first. I just nodded. He cleared his throat. Nathan, about everything that happened, I am sorry. I did not agree with it. I raised an eyebrow. But you went along with it. He exhaled. Tessa runs the house. I should have spoken up. I know that. I kept my tone steady. What is done is done. He nodded, relieved I was not dragging it out. I was not interested in humiliating him. He already looked embarrassed enough. 2 days later, my parents tried another angle. My mother left a message saying, "Family is sacred. You do not push people away over small things." My father followed with his own message. "You are supposed to forgive. It is unhealthy to hold grudges." I responded once with one line, "Respect is not optional." I left it at that. They kept sending messages, but I did not bother replying again. With the noise from my family ignored, the house became quieter in the best way. I brought in the Christmas decorations. Logan helped me string lights along the porch railing. Mira kept handing me ornaments like each one was priceless. We picked out a tall tree and set it up in the corner of the living room. The kids chose the theme, blue and silver, which matched the colors of their new rooms. We put stockings on the mantel, arranged candles on the dining table, and set up a small baking corner in the kitchen for cookies. Every part of the process felt steady and peaceful. When we finished decorating, the kids ran around the living room with the excitement only children have before the holidays. I stood in the doorway for a moment, taking in the lights, the warmth, and the feeling of belonging the space finally had. Christmas morning in the new house felt different from the moment Logan and Mira woke up. They rushed downstairs in pajamas, slid across the smooth floors I had refinished myself, and ran straight to the tree. Their excitement filled the house before any guests even arrived. No tension, no checking the time, no wondering whether we were included somewhere else. This was our day, in our home, on our terms. By late morning, Chef Mateo Rivera arrived with 2 assistants. He walked into the kitchen, looked around, and nodded with real approval. "You renovated this yourself?" he asked. I told him yes. Floors, lighting, shelves, everything. He inspected the counters and smiled. "You did good work. The layout is clean. I like when a home kitchen respects the food." It was simple praise, but I appreciated it. Coming from a man my family practically worshipped, it felt like a quiet confirmation that I had built something worthwhile. By mid-afternoon, guests started showing up. Mrs. Rao arrived first with a tin of homemade sweets for the kids. She called Logan, the young engineer, and told Mira her drawing corner was the best part of the house. Julian and Ivy came with a small plant for the windowsill. Something Ivy said would grow as fast as your kids. They helped set plates without being asked. Rylan walked in with a bag of board games and high-fived Logan, like they had been teammates for years. Nora, her spouse, and their kids filled the living room with loud, cheerful energy. Logan and Mira loved every second. Omar and Lilia brought gifts for the kids. Books, puzzles, things chosen with actual thought. Patricia and her daughter Sienna came last, carrying a bakery box. Patricia gave me a nod that said she was proud of the life I had built. Everyone blended easily. No one tried to dominate conversations. No one showed up expecting to be treated like royalty. They laughed with the kids, complimented the house, and treated each other with a level of respect I never saw in my parents' home. When dinner started, Chef Mateo introduced the dishes like it was a private restaurant. He served roasted herb chicken with winter vegetables, a pasta dish that tasted like something out of a magazine, and a dessert so good Mira tried to trade her brother one of her Christmas toys for his portion. At one point, Chef Mateo pulled me aside and said, "Your kids are polite. Good energy. You must be doing things right." I thanked him. He meant it, and I felt it. I took a few photos throughout the day. Nothing fancy. Logan decorating cookies with Sienna. Mira showing Mrs. Rao her drawings. A group shot around the table. A simple caption, "Grateful today." I did not think twice about posting them. 2 hours later, my phone started vibrating over and over. First message came from Tessa. "Are you serious? When did you get that, chef? You did this to make us look bad, didn't you? You're ridiculous." Then Diana, "Take those pictures down. People are asking why we are not there. You are causing problems on purpose." Then my father, "This is immature. Fix it before things get worse." I leaned against the counter, took a slow breath, and typed one message. You cannot complain about a dinner you shut us out of. That was all I said. No explanation. No debate. The group chat went silent for about 5 minutes. Then, Tessa fired back another long message about betrayal and family reputation, but I did not bother reading the whole thing. I set the phone down on the counter and went back to the dining room. The kids were laughing with Nora's daughters, building a tower of napkins. Rylan was explaining a card trick to Logan. Ivy was helping Mira hang her new ornament on the tree. The house was full in a way it had never been before. I did not miss my family at all. Later in the evening, after the guests left and the kids were winding down, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from a mutual acquaintance, someone who attends the same school events as Tessa. The text said, "Dude, your sister had a meltdown at the PTA group chat. Everyone was talking about your Christmas dinner with the chef. She was yelling about how you did it to embarrass her." I shook my head. Not surprised. Not amused either. Just acknowledging what I already knew. People who crave attention fall apart fast when someone else becomes the topic. I sent back a simple reply, "Thanks for the heads up." After that, I put the phone face down and focused on cleaning up with the kids. Logan handed me plates one by one. Mira dried the spoons. We talked about the games they played and which dish they liked most. Logan said the pasta was magic. Mira said the dessert tasted like Christmas lights. Once the house was quiet again and the kids were asleep, I stood in the living room for a moment. The lights glowed softly. The chairs were still slightly pulled out from where everyone had sat. The leftovers were packed away. The home felt lived in, appreciated, and full of the right people. This was the first Christmas where nothing felt forced. No begging for a seat. No waiting for approval. Just peace. My family could call, complain, or throw fits in public meetings if they wanted. None of it mattered. 2 days after Christmas, the kids were in the living room building a blanket fort when the doorbell rang. I was not expecting anyone. When I looked through the window, I saw Tessa standing on my porch, in a coat that looked like it belonged on a magazine cover, not in winter weather. Her arms were crossed, chin lifted, halfway between furious and offended. Typical. I opened the door but did not step aside. "What do you want?" She pushed past me anyway, walking right into the house like she owned the place. She stopped in the hallway, looked around slowly, and let out a long, judgmental breath. "Well," she said, "this is cute." I shut the door and leaned against it. "Say what you came to say." She started walking through the house, touching decorations, tilting her head like she was appraising a thrift store find. She paused at the tree and smirked at one of the handmade ornaments Logan created. "You let the kids decorate this? It looks messy." I stayed calm. "They decorated their home. You got a problem with that?" She blinked at me like she could not believe I answered her directly. Then she moved into the dining room, eyeing the chairs and table. "You went all out, huh? With the chef and everything. You always were dramatic." I followed her but kept distance. Funny coming from the person who needs an audience to breathe. She ignored that. Instead, she turned around sharply and said, "You embarrassed the family." I stared at her. "Explain." "You posted pictures of some fancy dinner, and everyone kept asking why Mom and Dad were not there. Why I was not there. People think we abandoned you." "You did." My voice was steady. "That is exactly what happened." She scoffed. "You know it was not like that." "All right," I said. "Let's walk through it." She crossed her arms tighter. I started listing things out calmly, one by one, like reading from a timeline I had memorized. "You told Mom I was probably too busy for your boy's birthday. You did not invite us. You and Mom planned family day trips without Logan and Mira and posted pictures like they did not exist. You left us out of Dad's birthday dinner. You did not tell us about Thanksgiving plans. And on Christmas Eve, you shut the door in my kids' faces." Her eyes flashed, but I kept going. "You said there was no room, but you had the entire dining table filled, folding chairs included. You made room for everyone except us." She tried to speak, but I held up a hand. "And then you told people I was too broke to buy this house. Said I must be renting it under someone else's name." She stiffened. "People exaggerate. That came straight from you, Tessa." She looked away, but her silence confirmed everything. I stepped closer, still calm. "You want to talk about embarrassment? You embarrassed yourselves. I did not need to help." She inhaled sharply, and right on schedule the show started. Her voice cracked. Her chin trembled. She brought a hand to her face like she was in a soap advertisement and whispered, I do not understand why you hate us so much." I stared. "Is this your dramatic crying attempt?" Her lip wobbled harder. "We are family, Nathan. I am trying here." "No," I said plainly. "You are trying to avoid consequences. She blinked fast, forcing tears. This is what you always do. You push everyone away. I did not raise my voice. I did not move. I just said, crying does not undo disrespect. Her mouth fell open. I continued. You do not get to exclude us all year, lie about us, treat my kids like extras, and then show up here acting confused. I am not stupid, and I am not interested in pretending nothing happened. Tessa took a shaky breath. We can fix this. No, I said. We cannot. She stared at me like no one had ever said that word to her before. You want access to my life because suddenly people are asking questions you do not like. This is not about guilt. This is not about family. This is about your reputation. She looked genuinely stunned for a moment, like I had knocked the script out of her hands. I pointed toward the hallway. You made it very clear who mattered to you. My kids are not going near people who treat them like background characters. We are done. She swallowed hard. Mom and Dad will never forgive you if you push us out. I shrugged. They pushed first. For a few seconds, the house was silent, except for Logan and Mira laughing under their blanket fort in the other room. That sound made everything easier. Tessa looked around again, this time not with judgment, but with something like disbelief. Maybe the first time she realized she did not have control here. You are making a mistake, she whispered. No, I said. I finally stopped making them. She grabbed her purse off the table, spun on her heel, and walked toward the door with stiff steps. She opened it like she wanted to slam it, but she caught herself. Maybe pride kept her from making a dramatic exit. She walked out without looking back. I closed the door behind her and locked it. Life after that winter moved forward smoother than anything I had experienced in years. The house stayed steady. The routine stayed steady. The kids stayed steady. That was all I cared about. My work picked up fast. Companies I had done small jobs for now wanted long-term contracts. The freelance work paid better than ever. I stopped taking clients who talked down to me or expected midnight miracles. I accepted only the ones who respected my time. It made everything simpler. Money stopped being stressful. Bills were handled early. Groceries were easy. Logan's school projects, Mira's art supplies, family outings, nothing required hesitation. Stability became part of the house, the same way the walls and windows were. The kids thrived. Logan's reading jumped ahead of his grade level. Mira started bringing home drawings that her teacher put on the classroom wall. Their school report cards used phrases like focused, engaged, and comfortable. And every day had a rhythm. Breakfast together, school drop-off, work, pickup, homework time, dinner, wind down. That routine felt clean, like everything finally lined up the way it should have from the beginning. By early fall, I was already sketching out ideas for the next Christmas. I wanted another full table, more lights outside, maybe a larger tree. Logan suggested homemade ornaments. Mira wanted a cookie decorating contest. I added both to the list. Everything felt predictable in a good way, until one quiet Saturday morning. The doorbell rang. I was in the kitchen helping Mira glue sparkles onto a cardboard crown when Logan called out, "Dad, someone is at the door." I stepped into the hallway and froze just long enough to prepare myself. Through the window, I saw Diana, Frank, and Tessa on my porch. All three. Together. None of them looked angry. They looked tense. Too composed. Like they had practiced. I opened the door only halfway. "What is it?" Diana took a shaky breath. "Nathan, we need to talk." I did not step aside. "Say it from there." Tessa's eyes were red, like she had been crying in the car or forcing tears for effect. Hard to tell with her. Frank stood stiffly, hands in his pockets, trying to look calm but failing. I kept my tone even. "I have limited time. The kids are busy. What do you want?" Diana swallowed. "We owe you an apology." I raised an eyebrow. "All right, go ahead." She started with a long breath, like she was easing herself onto a stage. "We made mistakes," she said, voice trembling. "Christmas. All of it. We should not have treated you that way." Frank nodded, staring at the ground. "It was not right. Your mother and we did not think about how it affected you." I did not respond, just waited. Tessa stepped forward. Her voice cracked instantly. "Nathan, I cannot keep pretending everything is fine. I messed up." Her tears came fast, faster than necessary, but I did not interrupt. She kept going. "I hated seeing you succeed. I hated when people talked about how well you were doing. I hated that you bought this house and made it look easy." She wiped her face with her sleeve. "I hated hearing people praise you when I felt like nobody noticed me anymore." She said the last part louder than needed, like she wanted it to land. I did not move. I did not comfort her. I listened the same way I would listen to a stranger explaining a traffic problem. She took another breath. "You did everything without help. You built your life. And I could not stand it. So I talked, and I lied, and I let Mom decide things without saying anything. And I should have stood up for you. Her voice cracked again. I am jealous of you. There. That is the truth. Frank shifted beside her. We are sorry, he said, trying to sound firm. We want to fix the family. Diana nodded quickly. We want to be involved again. With you. With the children. We want to repair this. I kept my hand on the door. You are leaving out something important. Diana blinked. What? You are apologizing because people started asking you difficult questions. This is about saving face, not about respecting me. She shook her head fast. No, that is not. I cut her off calmly. Then why did it take almost a year? Silence. I pointed to Tessa. You said you hated seeing me succeed. That was honest. But it also proves the point. You did not come here because you care. You came because you feel uncomfortable being exposed. Tessa opened her mouth, but nothing came out. I continued, still calm. You all excluded us for years. You shut the door on Logan and Mira. You held family day with only Tessa's kids. You spread lies about me in this house. You treated my kids like extras. And you did not care until people started talking. Frank cleared his throat. Nathan, we are trying. I hear you, I said. But apology does not equal access. Diana flinched. Nathan, you want forgiveness, I said. But forgiveness is not the same as trust. Respect is earned. You have not earned anything yet. Tessa's eyes filled again. So we are just cut off? No, I said. You chose the distance. I am simply keeping it where you put it. She wiped her cheeks angrily. We want to fix it. And I want my kids to grow up knowing they are valued. So our paths do not line up right now. Diana's voice cracked. We are their grandparents. Then you should have acted like it, I replied. Frank looked away. None of them seemed to know what to say next. I straightened up. I am not mad anymore. I am not carrying this around. But I am not opening the door to hurt my kids again. Tessa stepped back like she was absorbing a hit she never saw coming. Diana covered her mouth. Frank stared at the porch railing. I took one small step forward and ended it simply. You can work on yourselves. Or not. That is up to you. But you do not get automatic access to the life I built just because you regret how it looks. We are done for now. They stood frozen. 3 people who had always assumed I would bend eventually. 3 people who finally realized I would not. I closed the door gently. Not a slam, not a dramatic gesture. Just a quiet end to a loud chapter. Inside, Logan and Mira were laughing in the living room, still building their blanket fort. The house felt warm, steady, and entirely ours. No anger, no leftover bitterness, just peace. My kids finally had a real home, one built by choice, not obligation. And I was never going to let anyone make them feel unwanted again. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.